Wow. All I can say is wow. Like I'm kind of speechless right now, guys. What a win in the playoffs for the Green Bay Packers. The score doesn't even do it justice because of the garbage time touchdowns the Dallas Cowboys scored. But the Green Bay Packers, the 7th seed Green Bay Packers, first year under Jordan Love, first Jordan Love playoff game, just beat the 2-seeded Dallas Cowboys 48-32. I am absolutely speechless. I'm confident in this football team. I was all week. And I said, whatever happens, this is a win for the Green Bay Packers because of what happened this season. Evaluating Jordan Love, he is the future. And somehow, every week, Jordan Love impresses me more. And it's absolutely insane. What an all-around amazing performance by this Green Bay Packers team. Offense, defense, special teams. Got a little sketchy there at the end, but nonetheless, the Packers dominated this game against Mike McCarthy, right? Matt LaFleur against Dan Quinn, his former head coach when he was in Atlanta. Matt LaFleur worked under him as the quarterback coach. So Matt LaFleur, man, what a game by him. What a game by Jordan Love. Aaron Jones. We're going to dive down into all of this. We're going to break this down, and I'm going to give my instant thoughts on this game. San Fran next week. Can the Green Bay Packers exercise some demons? Can Jordan Love do what Aaron Rodgers couldn't and beat the 49ers in the playoffs? We'll see. I mean, we're going to have a long week ahead of us and, analyzing and what that game's going to look like. But first, we got to talk about this one, man. The Packers just put up 48 points against the Dallas Cowboys, who have a very good defense in their own home. Or the Packers' home. We'll call it that at this point. The deed transferred from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, just like the deed for the Chicago Bears transferred to Jordan Love. It did the same for Jordan Love with the Cowboys here. Absolutely insane, guys. Insane. All right, so let's dive down into this game, dive down into these stats, and of course, we're going to start with Jordan Love. Stop sleeping on Jordan Love. Everyone's sleeping on Jordan Love, at least non-Packers fans. Since like week 12, they've been saying, oh, he's good, whatever, but the Packers are still not a good team. Who have they beat? Well, they just beat the number 2 seed Dallas Cowboys, who are undefeated at home. That's who they just beat. And Jordan Love, arguably his best game, and I know I keep saying that, right? Like every week, I keep saying arguably Jordan Love's best game, because it is. Like this guy just continues to grow and continues to impress. Jordan Love, man, looks so cool, calm, collected, and composed in this game. There were multiple times where he had pressure in his face, and he stepped into that pressure, but also doing his fadeaway throw and delivered a ball downfield multiple times to a wide open receiver, usually Romeo Doubs. Hell of a game by Romeo Doubs. Jordan Love took ownership today of this offense, and he has been for the past 2 months, but man, it seemed like every time they needed a play, Jordan Love was just wowing me, right? Like every single time. And I know it's a cliche to say, oh, well, he's doing a lot of things Aaron Rodgers did, but every time I thought, the Packers were down and out, Aaron Rodgers would always wow me in a certain play he made. And that's exactly what Jordan Love is doing in his first year. It is beyond impressive. Jordan Love finished this game 16 of 21, 272 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 157.2 quarterback rating. Didn't get a perfect quarterback rating because that late play action where he fired it to Kraft and he kind of dropped it. So that took away his perfect quarterback rating, but it's fine. Jordan Love still had an amazing game. This just when it mattered the most and when he needed to step up the most here in the playoffs, he showed up. And this whole offense showed up. This supporting cast, this offensive line, which has been playing excellent since the Packers have gone on this streak. Jordan Love didn't get sacked once tonight. And we're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, right? I said in my, game preview, there's no such thing as shutting down those guys. You just contain them. The Packers just went out there and shut them down. So impressive. This offensive line the last 4 weeks has been great in pass blocking and run blocking. I mean, if we talk about the running tonight, I said the key to victory was get Aaron Jones going. And man, oh man, did Aaron Jones get going. 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's death taxes Aaron Jones scoring 3+ touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys and running for over 100 yards. I mean, it's just a given, right? It's just a given. The Texas native comes out here and just dominates the Dallas Cowboys every single time. If Jordan Love owns the Dallas Cowboys, then his co-signer is Aaron Jones, 100%. The Packers ran the ball 33 times for 143 yards, 4.3 average. As for the receiving, man, shout out Romeo Doubs with his best game of his career, no doubt. 6 receptions, 151 yards, and a touchdown. Man, it seemed like every time they needed a first down, Romeo Doubs was wide open in the middle of the field. I mean, he ran super deep digs or super deep post corner. He was on one today. This guy was running routes beautifully. And then, of course, that touchdown, that sidearm throw by Jordan Love after rolling out right. You know, Romeo Doubs doing an excellent job floating, and then finding the open zone, and Jordan Love just delivering a beautiful, accurate sidearm throw there into the end zone for a touchdown. Romeo Doubs, what a game. Luke Musgrave, 3 for 52 in his full game back, right? He was on a pitch count last week. This is his full game back. He had a touchdown. And I said earlier, shout out to Matt LaFleur. He was on one calling plays in this game. I mean, running that PA boot, opposite tight end leak to a wheel. Insane call. You did a great job calling a play when the guy you throw to has no one within 20 yards of him, and it goes for a touchdown. So shout out Matt LaFleur on that. Obviously, great throw by Love to go all the way back across the field, and Musgrave to hang on to that ball, stay up on his feet, and then get into that end zone. Musgrave 3 for 52. Tay Wicks 2 for 25 and a touchdown. That was also just an absolutely absurd throw by Jordan Love. That one gave me chills. That post route, you had Tay Wicks running a double move setup on Stephon Gilmore, kind of stunted, with a rocker step outside. Cut inside for that post, and Jordan Love off his back foot just lofted right up there. Perfect throw in that post. That one gave me chills. I mean, Tay Wicks is him as well. Tay Wicks, runs routes exactly like Devontae Adams. I've been saying it all year. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 15. Aaron Jones, 1 for 13. Watson, in his return, had 1 catch for 9 yards. Kind of expected a little bit more out of him, but man, Romeo Doubs was just wide open every play, so you couldn't really throw to anyone else. Bo Melton, 1 for 7. And surprisingly, Jaden Reed, not a single catch today, but hey, right? Keep Jaden Reed fresh, healthy. Let's use him next week against the San Francisco 49ers. Just a masterclass performance by this offense, putting up 41 points, right? Obviously, the Packers getting the pick 6, which we'll talk about, but putting up 41 points against this defense, that's insane, especially in a playoff game, such a high-stakes playoff game. I mean, this offense couldn't be stopped. They couldn't be stopped. Hats off to Matt LaFleur. Hats off to Jordan Love, obviously. Aaron Jones, Musgrave, everyone, offensive line, literally everyone. Everyone on the offense. Hats off. All right, so now moving to the defense. And yeah, sure, you might look at the box score and go, well, they let up 32 points. But the Dallas Cowboys had 2 or 3 garbage time touchdowns, one of which the entirety second, third string defense was on the field with that one touchdown to Jake Ferguson, who actually had 3 touchdowns in this game. But the last one he had, Packers backup defense is out there. But before all of that, which makes it look a lot worse than it was, man, this defense was on fire. And man, I got to give credit to everyone on that defense. Got to give credit to Joe Barry, because they came out with a great game plan and shut down one of the best offenses in the NFL and made Dak uncomfortable, made everyone on that offense uncomfortable, and most importantly, created turnovers, right? Jair Alexander early, who left with an injury late in that game, something to monitor going into next week. What an insane interception. I think it was a throw to Brandon Cooks. Quick slant. Jair pretty much ran the route for him, made a diving interception right behind him. Excellent play by Jair. Step up with an ankle injury, doing what he can and really just solidifying dominance by this Green Bay Packers in this game, getting that interception early. And then, of course, the Darnell Savage interception, man. Shades of 2010 against Atlanta right before half. A quick throw, pick 6, untouched all the way to the end zone. Shout out Darnell Savage. Welcome back. Stepped up today. I saw Darnell Savage flying around the field a lot today. He had an excellent game. Keyshawn Nixon, what an absolute excellent game. I was worried about him covering up CeeDee Lamb on plays, and I thought he did an excellent job. And even that, play right before halftime where they called illegal contact on Nixon, I thought that was more OPI on CeeDee Lamb pushing off at the end of that route, but I'm not mad at Nixon at all for any of that, because I thought he had an excellent game, and I've been tough on Nixon most of the season, and he's had some good games like Kansas City, but the majority has been bad, but he stepped up when it mattered most here in the playoffs, so shout out to Keyshawn Nixon. Now I'm going to go over some of the stats by the Cowboys, but again, there's a lot of garbage time stats, so take this with a grain of salt. Dak finished 41 of 60. He threw the ball 60 times. It's insane. 403 yards. You take away over 100 of those, garbage time. 3 touchdowns, take away 2 of those. 2 interceptions, they earned that. 4 sacks, a couple late in that game, but a couple early as well, and an 89.8 quarterback rating. Dak's rating should honestly be below a 40. He shouldn't have 3 touchdown passes. He should have maybe 1 and 2 interceptions, and nowhere near 400 yards. That was all garbage time. It didn't matter anyways, but it makes it look better for him, I guess. I don't know. As for rushing, for the Dallas Cowboys, the Packers held them in check, and I keep saying this, how the Packers can hold teams in check running is by getting up early and getting up big to where the other team can't really run as much because they got to get back into the game. Every time that's happened, the Packers, obviously has The Packers, obviously have held the other teams in check in terms of running. Tony Pollard, 15 for 56, 3.7 average. Dak ran 6 for 45, so running quarterback still kind of a problem for the Packers. Dowdle, 2 for 11, Cooks, 1 for 6, Lamb, 1 for 5. The Cowboys as a team, 25 for 123, 4.9 average. I mean, it's still a good average, but nonetheless, they held them in check running the football. There was some instances where the Cowboys, like on first down, would get a 7-yard run by Pollard, and that kept happening. But nonetheless, it was too little too late for the Cowboys to really establish a running game, and that's when the Packers defense is at its best. As for the receiving stats for the Dallas Cowboys, when you look at the box score, you go, CeeDee Lamb, man, 9 catches, 110 yards, but man, they locked him up. Like, this does not speak for how this game went. CeeDee Lamb without, I think, a catch in the first half. He had the one to end the first half, but it was accepted as a penalty, so I don't know if it count. I don't think it counted. So they locked him up, man. He was dropping balls, yes, but they locked him up. Jair was getting him flustered. Keyshawn Nixon was locking him up. It was crazy. He did finish with 110 yards. Again, a lot of garbage time, and second half he did start to turn it up, but the Packers were kind of playing really off coverage there. So Michael Gallup, 6 for 103. He was a guy that was open a lot in the middle of the field. He, definitely kind of tore up the Packers defense a little bit, but a person who did the best against the Packers defense obviously is someone from Wisconsin, and that's Jake Ferguson. 10 catches, 93 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Again, a lot of that was in garbage time, but he played good for their offense in this game. He was a seldom few that did. Brandon Cook, 6 for 47. Pollard, 7 for 29. The Packers do a good job at covering receiving running backs. If you threw the ball to Pollard 7 times and he only went for 29, I think that's a win. It's a 4.1 average. That's a very low average for a reception. Rico Dowdle, 2 for 14. Schoonmaker, 1 for 7. And Tolbert, nothing. I noticed early in this game that the Packers were rotating inside linebackers a lot. Like Quay and McDuffie were out there, and then it was Quay and Campbell. Like, I really didn't know who was actually starting. I think they were just rotating based on what Dallas was showing them. And McDuffie was flying around early. And then left with an injury. Didn't look too great. I don't think he returned back, so something to monitor going forward. Devondre Campbell with the dropped interception before half. Man, the Packers should have had 3 maybe even 4 interceptions on Dak. Got to bring that one in. Obviously, it didn't come back to bite the Packers, but, pretty much give up a touchdown right after that. The Dallas Cowboys have a chance to go double up to start the second half, but I didn't really know who was starting at inside linebacker. But man, good game by Kenny Clark. I feel like he was in the backfield multiple times. Again, I already mentioned Nixon, who had a sack, a tackle for loss, 2 passes defended, 11 total tackles. Excellent game by Nixon. Quay Walker, 11 total tackles. Devondre Campbell had a sack. Lucas Van Ness had a sack late in that game. Lucas Van Ness, man, was fast out there. There's one play where he's chasing Dak Prescott after he took off in a run, and Van Ness, it was like way faster than Dak. It was impressive. And then, of course, Preston Smith to kind of end it there with a sack late in that game where the Dallas Cowboys didn't end up scoring and making it a 1-score game. So good job by Preston there, ending that game with a sack. And to wrap things up, man, the Packers were running a lot of zone in this game, and it worked. And I know a lot of us don't like zone coverage, but when it works, right? These linebackers were covering excellently. They were passing off correctly. They were holding guys in their zone correctly. It just worked. Yeah, there's a few plays where people were wide open. It happens, right? They find the open hole in the zone based on what play you call. But the Packers, in terms of communication and passing things off in zone, was way better tonight. And that's a big reason why this defense, performed so well. But man, what a game. We're talking about the 7th seed Green Bay Packers. I believe the first 7th seed ever since implementing that into the NFL that has won a game. Man, it's crazy. They just walked into Dallas and put up 48 against the 2nd seed Dallas Cowboys under Matt LaFleur, under your first year of Jordan Love. If that doesn't make you hype for the future, nothing will. I mean, the Packers have a chance to go and beat the 49ers, our first seed 49ers. It would be absolutely insane. But no matter what, I said this last week, I'll say it again, no matter what happens, man, I'm so excited for this team going forward. The youngest team in the NFL, right? Made the playoffs and just beat a 2nd seed team. It's crazy. It is crazy what was just put out there in Dallas by this Packers football team. You got to give them credit. On to San Francisco. But that about does it for this video. I appreciate you guys coming by. Look out for my PFF video tomorrow. And then, of course, another week of injury report. Luckily, we can still talk about that with a game ahead of us. That's still amazing to say. I was confident in this team. I didn't expect this to happen. I was confident in thinking, the Packers could definitely win this game if they play their cards right and they play the right type of football. And they did more than that, man. I was confident, but I did not expect a 48-32, and it's not even really 32. I mean, erase 16 off of that at this point for garbage time, but just absolutely insane performance by this team. But that about does it for this one. I appreciate you guys coming by. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports this channel a ton, but I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.